Thank you, ma'am. Indeed, the potential of data is immense, and it touches the lives of each one of us. I can see that you have carved out a new work now for us, the group, the infrastructure, the data-driven infrastructure to be made available with lot more of analytics to be done with the data which is being released. Yes, the data is now getting released in an open format for people to use, but the true potential will come once we are able to analyze this data and come up with a meaningful decision, that is the decision-driven data-powered decision-driven would really be the next theme, maybe for us to work on the next 6 months and come up with some fruits. May I now invite Additional Secretary DeitY and DG NIC for his address.
Shrimati Alka Mishra, friends from various ministries and departments, colleagues from NIC. Let me welcome you once again to this workshop on open data. And I think this is one single initiative which can help bring in greater transparency, greater good governance, and greater efficiency, better quality of service to the citizens. So I think we cannot but, whatever we do cannot be enough in this, and we always need to do more. We have been holding a series of workshops, and it is in this series, the workshop today is being organized to get greater involvement of all the ministries and departments into this whole exercise of open data. What we do is merely provide a platform. What you do is the real work, that you make the data available onto this platform so that the benefit of that actually can be accrued. I would like to compliment all of you and the NIC for having reached a commendable, when we look at good governance, we are 140 something. When we look at various indices of performance in terms of global indices, we are way down normally. This is one case where we are among the top 10 to 15 percentile of the world, and that's something which is very commendable. But I don't think we need to rest on our laurels. We are hardly there. We need to continuously progress, and that is, I think, the focus of all of you who have done so much in the past needs to continuously strive. I have only 2 or 3 points which I want to make in this regard. One important question that is coming before us is whether this data should be, today data, everyone recognizes data is very precious, and ministries, departments always say, look, private organizations are minting millions out of data, which is true. So there is some kind of a thought that we should therefore also, government is in possession of so much of data, whether it is, let us say, vehicle data, or whether it is PDS data, or BPL data, or population data, census data, etc. Should we also hold it and keep it and then start licensing it on payment? I have, whatever so far the experience has been, if you look at the revenue generated to government from so-called licensing of data, I think it will not even add to an ocean, drop in the ocean. But the question that I want to put before this audience is, we need to compare what are the benefits to the country as a whole. Government is not about just creating money, earning income or doing business. What is the total benefit to the country if the same data is either licensed and sold versus if the data is made open and made available to the public so that value-added services can be generated out of that. And that is, I think, a very important consideration going forward, because some of the databases which are not being made open today are normally being not done so on the pretext that we can license it and earn some money on it. So which is more beneficial to the country needs to be examined, and I think that's one question we need to answer. The second, I think, very important point which has been there before the open data and which will make significant difference is this data that we are making open, can someone make commercial use of it? Can someone provide value-added services and charge for it? Again, there are two different views. One is that, if we do this, a lot of companies will take millions of rupees or whatever out of it, and this is free money, and why should we allow them to make so much of money out of it? The other side of the viewpoint is that, look, if someone is going to charge some money out of it, no one gives you free money. The person who's paying for that service is paying for it because he sees value in that service. And therefore, if by incentivizing people to charge for a value-added service, we are increasing the bouquet of services based on the same data, should we not be doing it? So, in fact, the subcommittee has been created under Mr. Suresh Kumar's leadership, Joint Secretary Law Department, and other ministry representatives and NIC representatives to take a call on this. But I think it's a very important question, that data which is there in the open data, we should be able to, I have a personal view, but I don't want to bias the committee's decision on that, whether we should allow the data which is available in open domain to be made used for commercial purpose. The third point, and I think that has already been mentioned by Ms. Neeta Verma, is regarding data analytics. I think we have all the data controllers here. I think time has come when we should change the designation of controllers to managers. Because data today, we are not looking at control, we are looking to manage the data for the benefit of the whole country, whole system. And analytics is a very, very important part of this. So I think all the data managers should really see how they can create greater capability. DeitY is in process of formulating a program which will have capacity building component for potential government people as well as outsiders in the area of data analytics. It is true that we need to do a lot in this direction, but I'm so happy that this issue has been flagged, and I think all of you should also flag this issue respectively so that we can take the effort to create greater capacity. So data analytics is highly sophisticated and currently moving field, so we need to have a structured program for creating capability in this direction. I just want to make one last point, and I want to flag two very important areas, in fact three very important areas where I think we need to take steps towards making data open. One is, I think we need to look at making process-related data open. Today, very often data that is made available by ministries are, in fact, are very structured MIS kind of data, which they have nicely curated and made it available, most of the time, not all. But there is this whole thought of data, open data by default, so that everything that is there, except if there is a conscious decision that this data should not be made open, everything else should be on open domain. And if that is one point which needs to be considered, whether we are ready for creating an open data by default system, or at least in certain domains can we do it, and which basically means that if there is a certain data set which need not be made public, need not be made public, but everything else automatically should be made. And there, even process-related data, so that real value-added services can only be generated if the process-related data should be. And two other things on which I think we need to do work. One is on language technologies. We have created a lot of data, and like everything else, there is this feeling that the data we have created should be only used by us. To improve the capability of local languages in the country, it is very important to make this data available in the open domain, so that in a suitable license framework, so that people who can use it and contribute to it as well, so that the critical corpora is generated, which can lead to greater local language capabilities on online capabilities in the country. And the second one is on GIS. GIS, again, I think there is a sense of tremendous possession by all agencies who are working in this area, which has limited. Every time there is this sense of possession for data in this area, there is also lack of capability consequently. So we see very little space application, space-related, geographical-related application, GIS-related applications in our IT applications. GIS-related data needs to go open, and I think we must specifically endeavor in that direction. I wish all the workshop all the best, and hope that we have good deliberations in this workshop. Thank you very much.